You think manipulation always comes with words, a lie, a threat, a guilt trip wrapped in a sentence. But the most dangerous manipulators in your life, they never raise their voice. They never argue. They never even ask. They just do things, subtle things, and somehow, without a single word being spoken, you find yourself changing your behavior, walking on eggshells, shrinking yourself down, all to keep the peace with someone who never technically did anything wrong. That's the quiet manipulation, and it's happening to more people than you think. Here's what makes it so terrifying: you can't point to it. You can't say they said this or they did that, because they didn't. Not obviously, but your gut knows something is off. You feel it in the way your stomach tightens when their name appears on your phone. You feel it in how you rehearse entire conversations in your head before they happen. You feel it in how exhausted you are after spending time with someone who never technically did anything wrong. Let's break down exactly how this works and why your brain falls for it every single time. The first thing you need to understand is that humans are wired to read nonverbal signals. Before language even existed, our ancestors survived by reading body language, facial expressions, silence, and energy. It's ancient software running in your brain right now, and a skilled manipulator knows how to hack it. Take the silent treatment. On the surface, it looks like someone just not talking, but what it actually does is activate your brain's threat detection system. When someone who usually engages with you suddenly goes cold and distant, your nervous system reads it as rejection, and rejection neurologically triggers the same pain response as physical injury. Science has shown that social pain and physical pain light up the same regions of the brain. So when someone gives you the silent treatment, you are literally in pain, and you'll do almost anything to make that pain stop. That's not weakness. That's biology being weaponized against you. Then there's the subtle sigh, the eye roll that happens just fast enough that if you call it out, they'll say you're imagining things. The way someone will agree with you out loud, but their tone, their posture, their entire energy says the opposite. These micro-expressions and micro-behaviors are processed by your subconscious mind before your conscious mind even has a chance to catch up. By the time you're trying to figure out what just happened, your emotional state has already been hijacked. There's also what psychologists call strategic incompetence, and this one is brilliant in its cruelty. It's when someone consistently performs a task badly so that you stop asking them to do it. The partner who always burns dinner, the colleague who always misses the point on a certain type of report, the friend who always forgets details you've told them multiple times. On the surface, they look helpless, clumsy, forgetful, but the result? You take on more. You carry more. You carry them. And the entire time, they never had to say, I don't want to do that. They just made themselves useless until you stopped asking. And then there's the manipulation of space and presence. Some people control you by simply being there or not being there. The person who walks into a room and immediately changes the energy, and everyone starts adjusting their behavior without a word being spoken. The partner who doesn't say they're upset but sits in the room with a heaviness that fills every corner of it. The parent who doesn't have to say, I'm disappointed in you, because the way they look at you communicates exactly that, and you feel 7 years old again. This is emotional atmosphere control. It's real. It's powerful. And most people have no idea it's being done to them. Here's the psychology behind why you're so vulnerable to it. Your brain has a powerful bias toward pattern completion and harmony. When something feels unresolved, a tense silence, a cold shoulder, an unexplained shift in someone's behavior, your brain desperately wants to close that loop. And to close it, you'll often compromise yourself. You'll apologize for things you didn't do. You'll work harder to earn approval you never lost in the first place. You'll quietly reshape your personality, your opinions, your preferences, all to restore a sense of equilibrium with someone who has never officially demanded a single thing from you. The worst part? The manipulator doesn't always know they're doing it. Some of these behaviors are learned survival mechanisms, patterns picked up in childhood when silence or withdrawal was the only way to feel safe or in control. That doesn't make it okay. But it does make it complicated, because you can't always call it out. You can't always assign blame. You can just recognize the pattern, and protect yourself. So how do you protect yourself? First, you trust the data of your own nervous system. If you feel anxious, depleted, or like you're constantly performing around someone, that's information. That's your body telling you something your mind is trying to rationalize away. Stop overriding it. Second, you name what's happening, not necessarily to them, but to yourself. This person is using silence to make me feel responsible for their emotional state. Naming it strips it of some of its power. Manipulation thrives in the fog. Clarity is the enemy of quiet control. Third, you practice non-anxious presence. You don't chase. You don't over-explain. You don't immediately move to fix a tension that you didn't create. You sit in the discomfort and let the other person own their emotional state. This is incredibly hard, especially if you were raised in an environment where someone else's silence was always your emergency. But it's the most powerful thing you can do. The people who control without words are counting on one thing: that you'll keep paying the emotional tax they've levied on your attention, your energy, and your peace. They're counting on your empathy being stronger than your boundaries. They're counting on your love for harmony being stronger than your love for yourself. The moment you stop paying, the moment you decide that your nervous system's comfort matters more than their unspoken approval, that's when the dynamic shifts. That's when you take back the power that was never theirs to take in the first place. You are not imagining it. You are not too sensitive. And you are not responsible for managing a silence that someone else chose to create. Recognize the quiet manipulation. Name it. And refuse to be moved by it.